Live now. All right. So go ahead. We live. Go ahead and do your thing. Jerome, you do what you got to do. Let it populate a little bit. Hey, just make sure that you get me
Yeah, let it pop.
yeah, tag me on Facebook so I
They
can run
got.
it too.
We're gonna make it quick today.
All right, hold on.
You
Y'all
gotta
go
wait
ahead.
till
Yeah, dog, man.
no, this is gonna be kind of interesting today. Oh boy, this is gonna be interesting today.
I'm gonna cross myself out
Wokeness.
right here at the neck.
Wokeness. What is wokeness? What is wokeness?
I don't even know. See, I thought what is woke?
Yeah.
Woke is just being aware of what's going on.
What's the woke agenda?
No, the woke agenda is different from the wokeness.
Oh, so we talking about different type of wokes here.
We just talking about period because it's getting defined in so many different ways.
Woke agenda is like paying attention to what happens. You get out of their phones.
Okay.
How you gonna be to talk about something you know?
So
Woke?
yeah, We're gonna
No, it's because I've been hearing woke, and I have a different.
no. I mean, we're gonna hit all phases. I mean, what you got something to do today? What you got to do today?
Racial prejudice.
Oh
We
no,
got an hour.
I'm gonna say
We got an hour to get this off our chest.
We're gonna talk about it. You know, I got a
Yeah,
lot to say.
I got you. All right. Like I said, let me go ahead and just do what we got to do. Yo, it's brother Brian. Part of the Three Headed Monster podcast today. Got brother Crew Cut on this. Coach Crew Cut on the ram. We got Uncle Rome on the ram. Today we're gonna talk about wokeness in many different forms and whatever you want to think about when it comes to wokeness, because I hear it a lot, but I hear a lot of different definitions of wokeness or being woke or what is woke, period. And it's starting to become confusing because I think through different cultures, I feel like it has different meanings. Like for instance, the way we use the word black. We use black in so many different forms and ways that it's kind of like it's the way you phrase it, the way you understand it and stuff like that. So we gonna get it in and we're gonna talk about it. What's good? What's good, Jerome? Oh my bad, Jerome, head down. All right,
Oh, now you good. I'm just running through.
all right, crew cut, what's good, man? What's
Get
good?
all out.
What's good?
What's good with y'all? Tell me something good.
Brother Wathrow is on there. Hell,
Uh-oh.
Should we throw him on here too? What you
Of course.
think? Throw him on here,
Always
Jerome.
bring Mr. Waltho, man.
Throw brother Wathrow up on there. Oh boy, this is a Sunday brunch for real.
I'm trying to tell you.
Get your popcorn ready. I hope you got your breakfast in. We about to dive in. I
While
think
y'all doing
we
that, I'm
doing
gonna
it.
edit my screen. So y'all go ahead and start up, and I'm gonna edit my screen.
All right, go ahead, Jerome. What's good, Jerome?
I'm gonna pull my content up.
Jerome.
Welcome everybody to the show. All of our people that are on Facebook, all of our people that are on YouTube. Thank you again for joining us for this Sunday brunch. It's kind of something new. Me and B is trying out. It seems to be getting a good audience. So, what's up to everybody? And listen, as always, please don't believe anything that we tell you. Whatever you hear, go back and research it. Find the truth. Find your truth. Bring it back. Let's talk about it. Let's build and go forward. So, what's up, B?
What's going on, man? This like I said, this is something I've been hearing. From we had a conversation at work, and I actually invited the guy to come on. He probably gonna forget that he actually got to do this. Uh, but hey, I just wanted to get a different perspective from it. But no, I've been hearing it a lot in the news. I've been hearing it. I was watching something, and It was a young white lady was, talking, and then she said, "Yeah," and the wokeness, and the black girl stopped and said, "What is wokeness? What is being woke?" And she couldn't define it. She was like, "So you're using a word that you really don't have a definition behind it, or the exact meaning of why you're using it. It's starting to become something that people just using. Woke, being woke. The left is the woke, the right is the woke, and it's kind of getting sick of it because it started when I started hearing the word woke. Being woke was in the conscious community amongst in the black community of being open minded, or you're breaking away out of the you're kind of like in the sense of you're getting out of the matrix. You're thinking on your own, and you're starting to understand things on your own. You're starting to read more, find out more truth about
Right.
a lot of the fictitious stuff that we've been hearing. So I
Right.
hear it as being open minded.
Fictitious. What's
But
up?
I just wanted to get a bunch of brothers on. Hey, did you send Brother Waltho that invite?
I did. I did.
Okay. And I just want to get an understanding. I got a pencil and paper. I want to get some education. I just want to hear different point of views of being woke and what is wokeness. I know Coach about to drop some craziness on it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
You
even
know,
got I got Wikipedia up. I'm trying to get the Western Dictionary version of what wokeness is.
so
Uh,
everybody that's on, if you would, please share, please like, um, comment, drop your comments, because we definitely want to stay connected to everybody that's listening. We definitely want to hear each and everybody's voice. Um, we have a few guests coming in, so we might pop people in, pop people out. So it's going to be a good show. So whatever your thoughts are on wokeness, we'd love to hear that too. Drop it in the comments. So for me, woke, I'm like, it's a term that was put out there that was taken over by another group, right? Because it used to be conscious. Who's conscious, who's um, aware of their situation, aware of their surroundings, who's aware of what's going on, right? And that was stuck with the black community because the black community was the one that had been placed in the dark. They were the ones that these agendas were happening to, but you didn't understand that they were agendas. And so when you came into the knowledge of it, or when you started to see things differently, that's where the consciousness movement, you know, really come from. It's not like it ain't always been here, but just when people start labeling things and putting terms to things, that's what happened. Now, whoa, I don't know. It's like a catchphrase to me, and people are using it to further an agenda. Like the woke community is not the conscious community. The woke community is more for the political political side of things. Um, I hate to start naming groups, but the woke community, man, is like, for me, it's a fake group as towards when you're comparing it to consciousness. You know what I'm
Facts. I,
saying?
I agree. I agree with, but that's why I say when it comes to culture, it's having different meanings. Um, I got one definition is being hip or being open
Uh,
minded.
right.
Um, Another one is a state of being aware, especially in social problems such as racism and equality.
Right.
It has recorded display his wokeness, more example, wokeness needs more searching for more knowledge, understanding, and truth in order to challenge injustice. Yeah, that's a
Right.
deep one.
I mean, it is, but think about it. If you're just now becoming woke, how? How did you not know about these things?
No,
How
and
did you
that's what I
not
say
see? How did you
when you
not?
disconnect yourself from the matrix of society of today. Is that better?
Yeah,
When I
I
say
know
that?
I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense for somebody to become woke this year, somebody to become woke last year. You know, I was like, come on, man. How long have you lived
Actually,
in America?
actually, you can kind of get beat down to the fact that you just kind of just go with the flow. Just because you don't want the ridicule of you trying to fit in a society that really don't want you to fit in. We
And
just
I
need you to
get
do
that.
this. Okay.
Yeah. No, I get that what you're saying. But think about that, even in that context that you're bringing. You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
fitting in. So if you're fitting in, that means you
Mm-hmm.
know something's not right,
Facts.
but you're still trying to fit in the way society is flowing. So it's not that you don't have this knowledge of what's going on around you. You know, I think some people just um I don't want to go too deep real quick, but I gotta say it like this. You know, there's
Yeah.
two
Say
things
what you
that
gotta
operate
say,
in this
bro.
world.
It's brunch
There's
time.
two things that operate in right, it's brunch time. There's two things that operate in this world, right? We think
Mm-hmm.
it's love and hate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what operates in this world. Love and hate is basically the same energy. It's just a perspective of how you look at it. You can look at it too, right? So it's just the amount of energy and perception that's used. The difference is love and apathy. People, it's so much apathy in the world. It's people looking at things that they can change, but they don't. They see people suffering, but they don't help. They
Mm.
see situations, but they don't change it. You know,
Mm.
so love and apathy is the two most powerful things in this world. And these are the two things that keep, because apathy outweighs love now, just in the situation that you're in. How could you, as a society, if you're a group of people and you see how black people are suffering every day, I'm talking about back in time, suffering every day, being mistreated every day. You see laws being formed against them every day. You see them being persecuted every day, but you do nothing. That's apathy. That's not a matter of me. Was I woke? Was I asleep? Was I unconscious? Was I conscious? It's just you made a choice not to step in and help. And that's America, that's the world, and that's why we're in the position that we're in.
I got you. Crew cut.
What's going on?
All right, you break it down. You tell me what you think or this the word wokeness or being woke means to you.
Well, it used to mean that you didn't believe. Can y'all hear me? Hello? Uh-oh. I done lost all. I can't hear him no more. Oh, you on mute. Okay, okay. So woke to me used to mean you didn't believe. So when somebody said that they was woke, that means they didn't believe what everybody else believed in. Like, like, like the one black sheep, that would be the woke person to me. The person that goes against the grain. That what it used to mean. Now you got a whole bunch of unwoke people talking about they woke. And I'm gonna tell you how they unwoke. Because woke means you're in the knowing. You know what's going on for real. Or you got an idea what's going on. Not being woke means you just going along with the system. So what I mean is we playing woke because we all know that if we only shop with ourselves and only did business with ourselves, all this so-called oppression will go away. All this black on black crime will go away. because they will have things for them to do to keep them busy within our own community. But when we out here lost out here in these world and don't know what's going on, um, we not woke. When you working these manufacturing jobs nonstop, I'm not saying they bad, but if you working them and don't have a plan of doing your own agenda or doing your own thing for your own people, you're basically pushing the matrix or whatever they call the matrix further. So you're not woke. If you go to church every Sunday and you praising and your pastor got Bentleys and stuff, you're not woke. You get what I'm saying? If you go in the clubs every Friday
know
and
exactly what you're saying.
you spend all your hard-earned money, you worked all week for, and you go spend it all on some clothes to look fly and to go to a club just to party 1 to 2 nights, just to go back and work all week again, you're not woke. There's nothing you can say. I don't care how many herbs you eat or how many you meditate during the day, you still ain't woke. You got an idea of some things, you trying some things out, but you still ain't woke.
I think, yeah, I love that. I think too, because it can all break down into semantics, right? It means this for me, it means this for you, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, like as Brian said, he had his dictionary. I think he got his dictionary open right there. He's looking at. Woke is the past tense of awake, right? So woke is the past tense of awake. So when has there been an awakening?
Mm.
They jump straight to woke. I hadn't seen the awakening where you see the country just awake to, oh, this is messed up. Oh, they treating these people this way. Oh, you haven't seen an awakening. But yeah, they jump straight to woke. But woke is the past tense of awake. So if there hasn't been a great awakening, why we got so many woke people?
We don't have him. Ain't nobody woke. I'm sorry.
Right. Exactly.
We are still stuck in the maze and have not found the way out. It's
Right.
one young lady that's on TikTok, and she sold her house in Atlanta, and now she stay out in New Mexico, she in the middle of nowhere. Her and her husband, and they live for themselves. They out there off the grid, and they doing their thing. Now,
Right.
I would say they have an idea of what woke is, because now they're not dependent on nobody else but themselves. All the grocery stores can stop serving food right now. They're going to survive and they're going to be fine. You get what I'm saying? Now they have an idea of what woke means, but if we still stuck in this matrix or this money scheme, which they're taking, and we're just running this loop round and around and around and around and around and again, each year we just looking for better ways to make more money. We're not woke.
I mean, you could have a sense of knowing what it takes to be woke, but when you gonna leave your job?
That's
When
what
you
I'm
gonna
saying.
stop paying your bills?
Right. That's when
When
you.
you
That's
when
when.
you go when you gonna stop doing those things that are tied to the matrix, as you call it? So that's what I'm talking about. You could have a sense of what's going on, but we all live with this apathy, man, where we can make changes, but we choose not to.
Right.
Because you're comfortable living in the house that you're living in. You're
Right.
comfortable going to the job that you're going to. You're comfortable paying for the trips that you go on.
So the
So,
matrix got you. You stuck.
so the matrix got you.
So let me ask you a question, Ron or Brian. It's the both of you.
Yeah.
The young man down there in Mississippi.
Give me
They
a minute, Russ.
you
Go
know what I'm
ahead.
talking about?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The brother called his mom and said, "Hey, I'm working with these guys, and we don't see eye to eye, and I don't think this gonna go too right." Right? She tell him, "Say, baby, go to the police department." Right? He goes to the
Right.
police department.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Go ahead. Go ahead. I know
The
what you're talking
police
about. Go ahead.
department, I'm just trying to use this for example. The police
Yeah.
department, he goes to the police department. The police department says, we can't do nothing for you. Well, he said, well, can you at least give me a ride home? And they said, that's out our jurisdiction. We can't help. And then tell him he can't stay there. So now he has no choice but to go face whatever he had to go face.
Yeah.
He comes up there, and why not every one of us in the whole entire country down on this one little city's head right now? Why? All the cops need to lose their jobs. All the city officials need to lose their jobs. The whole nine. But see, this is in a city where the KKK is not the KKK, the Jim Crow. I didn't mean to say KKK, but Jim Crow. The Jim Crow laws is about to prevail, where they're able to choose and pick who they want to govern you. Well, you have no say so who's telling you who's sentencing you, right? And they're doing this to convert to change the crime. They're doing this for the crime issue.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
I see what you're saying. They ain't no fun of that boy body in pieces.
Right.
In pieces.
They trying to say animals did that.
Yeah,
so at the end
animals
of the
did.
day, yeah, after they threw him out there for him to do it. But anyway.
No, I know
about,
what he's saying. No, the real animals did it.
Right, yeah, the real animals did it. Right. So at the end of the day, this is starting to become more common now. I remember do you all remember when I told you they found my people down there hung up behind his house hanging off a tree?
Yeah.
Right.
They said no foul play, but we've been looking for him forever, and now just one sunny day he's found behind the house on the tree. You get what I'm saying? So
right,
we're going backwards, and we're going backwards fast. They're feminizing all the feminine. They feminizing all the men, and I'm trying to get to this woke stuff. This is they're feminizing all the men, incarcerate all the men.
Mm-hmm.
If you commit a crime, but you and your partner commit a crime, now it's automatically gang. I want that it's gang now. It's gang involved. Ain't no gangs around here, but all of a sudden now it's gang involved. Okay. So now they pushing all these issues and claiming, and now this is the woke agenda. Now they woke to what's going on. We in trouble. Is what's going on.
I agree with you as a community. Yes, we big in trouble.
We going so far backwards right now. So, well, like I said, people are getting murdered on an everyday basis.
Mm-hmm.
Not to even mention how many killing their own every day. You know what I'm saying? Because of what's going on in the situation with nothing going on. You on mute. Oh, okay, talking. But yeah, so at the end of the day, we got to change this narrative super fast, or it's over with. And that's what I was saying about the Democratic Party. I'm not turning nobody to the Republican Party because I won't trust them either. But our commitment is to the Democratic Party. And that's who I say is pushing the woke agenda. Because if they're saying that if you don't accept me who I am as them, they, them, and all this other stuff going on, and this is more important than what's really going on, that's their woke agenda.
Of course. It's
Go ahead.
I think, and he summed up a lot of what I was saying with apathy, man. There's a lot. Everybody sees what's going on, but they choose to do nothing. The kid asked for help, but they chose not to help him, even though you're there to protect and serve. Right? So this apathy, man, is so rampant because the fake wokeness is, ooh, I see it, but you're not doing anything about it. You just want to say that you're calling attention to something. Calling attention to something is not being woke. I think there's a word, and I think culture really like this word. It's actually two words, but it's social engineering, right?
Yeah.
Social engineering, just for a straight definition, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change, regulate the future, and develop and behavior of a society. Social engineering. So that and then you got this, you got to accept me for this. This is all part of social engineering, and it's changing how you think, right, and will be viewed in the future. See, a lot don't understand happening in front of us, and it's offensive to us, right? But it's setting something up in the future. Because when you're trapped into a mindset of surviving, right? So when you're in a mindset of surviving, you only think about today and maybe what happens tomorrow, right? But you got people that are comfortable, so they plan for decades. They can see decades in front of you. And so they plan for you because you in this survival mode. You ain't gonna think past today, tomorrow. You just trying to feed your kids. You just trying to keep them in a house, right? So they are already planning what they want you to do in the future because you don't have time enough to sit down and understand the agenda that's being formed on you.
Well, it's kind of getting forced on us, though. It's forced on it if
you accepted it.
You accepted it.
I mean, you accept it to a certain
because
extent.
enough people is telling you, hey, we need to do
Hold on,
this.
let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you.
Hold on. Go ahead, B.
What happens if your kids are not in school?
They get in
What
trouble,
happened?
you get in trouble.
And what happened? You get what? They didn't incarcerate you.
Right.
Because they're saying that your kids don't. So that's what I mean. It's kind of forced because it's just like you say, we back into the survival mode. I don't want to go to jail, so you got to go to school to learn this. But it do fall back to the responsibility on you because yes, you got to let them know they got to learn that system, but they also got to understand the real system in hand too. So if you're not throwing that information in them, well, again, you're back into, I just got to work. I just got to work. Make sure you get 18. When you're 18, you're on your own. That's still surviving. That's still surviving.
Let me ask you
but
something.
I mean,
I want you to continue. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Because you said the real system, right? You go do a job.
Yeah.
Do they pay you?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You go on
They
vacation.
They pay you what they feel like they need to pay you.
Listen to me. Do you go on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
You pay for that. That system seems real to me, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
This thing is really real. See, that's the
As much
problem. Go ahead.
As much as you want to break away from it, it's still is hard to like what Crew Cut was saying as the family who came off the grid. That's big. That's major. When you learn how to grow your own food, when you able to live on your own and just get away from the rules. Because again, these rules constantly changing on a daily basis. Look what's going on in Florida alone. We're gonna take all the books. And then I'm about to show you what I want you to know. And it's kind of like, damn, is it that bad? Because one state though where everybody else is talking about.
You talking about the books in Florida with the AP situation?
No, that just period. They took all the books out.
It was a reason why, because it was like you either get this or don't get none of it, I guess.
But you got to understand it also who's really being attacked.
Why would I teach? Why would I even put that in my child's head about the sexualities?
Wait a minute. Now, again, let's think about this. If that's what they're telling you, that's what they're telling you. My son go to school. They don't talk about that.
No,
they don't never discuss none of that.
Not in your district, but they applied the new AP studies at his school.
In the whole state?
No, all schools ain't got them, bro. Like in Georgia.
That's what I said.
Only one school in Georgia got it. Only one school in Georgia got it.
Well, my point. You pushing it, but you also forcing the agenda of this is the Christian way. That's not the way. That's not the way. And you
Right.
know that's not the way. But that's what everybody, that's the excuse they're using behind everything they do now. Now you
Hold
fall
on.
back on their religion.
Hold on.
But go ahead.
What's the Christian way?
Oh, it's whatever was said in the Bible, what's wrote in the Bible is, or how we say the angelicals seeing things the way they see it. Oh, God told us this is what we need to do, and this is the way we're going to go with it. So, you know, but they flying under a Christian banner when they do this, because white Christianity and black Christianity are not the same. It's not.
What?
Real Jews call it plagiarism. I mean, idol worship. But okay.
But I yield back. But I mean, I'm just putting out examples. But you also got to teach your kids too. But if you're not on that level of teaching, well, you're still in the system too. So it's either you damn if you do, damn if you don't.
You know, do you know why they put you in jail? You don't let your kids go to school?
Why? Tell me. Throw it at me.
I'm just saying there's a system of indoctrination, right?
Yeah.
The children can't miss this system of indoctrination because they don't become proper adults that fit into the system. So you're actually against the whole system when you don't send your children to be indoctrinated. So
True.
you're an enemy to the state. So if you're an enemy to the state, you know you're going to jail.
But whatever happened to teaching your kids when they come home?
That's my point. That still falls on you. That's why I say you have to teach them. You got to teach them both systems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, B, I'm 100% with you. But what I'm trying to point out to you, that's why the survival mindset is so important. They got you in the survivalist mindset. You don't think about when your kids get home, that's the furthest thing from your mind. It's teaching them the real system.
Better.
Fake system, the real system. Yeah, we could say that because we're in a different position. But some people, when you talk about single mothers, you know, teaching your child that that's the matrix and this is real life is the last thing on the agenda.
Man.
True, because you're just trying to put food on the table.
Exactly.
Right.
Trying to keep the roof going. But that goes back to the agenda that you were talking about.
You're trying to make sure that dude that you bringing over ain't touching your kids. You trying to, you know, work that second job. You trying to, you know, it's so many things that they got going on.
So
but it goes back to what you was talking about, though, the social engineering.
When will we have enough? When will we be okay? Enough is enough. When will you think the Negro will be tired?
Dude, that's a cool. That's hell. We tired now, but we just
we talking about being woke. So you got to be tired to be woke. I mean, you got to,
but
you got to be tired.
I mean, you're 110. But
damn, man, you got me on that one.
I mean, but you never gonna have enough because of our society is materialistic. You know what I'm saying? So if our society is built on having more, you can't get enough because it's impossible. Just like perfection, right? Perfection, you can't ever achieve perfection, you know, because you're always striving for it to make it better. So it's the same thing with material. If you got some money, you want more money.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? If you got one Jordan, you need the whole collection.
Here we go, man.
No shot B.
Come on, man. God, knew you was gonna go there, man.
No shot B.
I think we need to run some type of party against parties.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Crew cut. What you talking about? Us leaving the Democratic Party? I 100% agree with you. Like I'm with you.
You can get
because
half of the Negroes to do
we got to
that.
make somebody work for us. Because if it's funny, we told that we are the minority. Do you believe that? Who trying to come on?
No, we are not the minority.
We got another person on the scene. Hello. What am I? Hello, crew cut. You say we're not the majority?
We're not the minority.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're a majority of every major city in this nation. Are we not?
Good point. True.
You go through every major city, you ride through downtown and get stuck in traffic. Who you gonna see?
Who you don't want to see.
Right.
If you're not on that side, it's who you don't want to see.
Stacked on top of each other like flies in these cities. So at the end of the day,
somebody turn down that radio. What's up, Russ?
What's going on, everybody? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I saw y'all message. I was listening in just Sunday out. I was like, let me see if I can get 5 minutes. What's going on, Brian?
Yo, what's good, man? What's good? Let's build.
I'm the troll on the internet. Everybody love to hate.
Why you say that?
Because people don't like a lot of my concepts because y'all was talking about wokeness, and I saw the link and I clicked on it, and that's just a perfect title for what I was thinking about today. And like, I wrote some notes, dude. I didn't want to shoot from the hip today.
I wish you could hear this shit.
Like the wokeness, it's like they've weaponized that term and they're flipping it against black people. Because to me, like when I think of wokeness, I think of the earlier days. I think the actual word woke comes out of the quote unquote, I'll say with the quotes, the conscious community, the 5%ers, the Hebrew Israelites, the NOI, people coming out of prison who've been reading books and things, because prior to the internet, we really didn't have a lot of access to what they call woke or conscious information. You had to go to like a black bookstore. Those really don't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, I need that.
And I think
wait a minute, who that in the background? Is that
my bad? I thought it was.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Russ. My bad.
And like I said, y'all was talking about the wokeness, and I took a couple of notes, and I think that they're weaponizing the wokeness against us. It was a term that we used. Wokeness was almost like a little society type thing. It was like a little group, tight-knit group type thing, because even in the black community, when you started talking like this back in the day, I ain't so old, but back in the day, that was always considered being too black or too revolutionary to even talk about some of the concepts that you're talking about today. And prior to now, you had to go to like black bookstores. Like I'm out in Durham. You had to go to the black bookstore by Central if you wanted to get books. Or whether you believe it or not, a lot of people got information from the Final Call newspaper or the Hebrew Israelites. So if you lived in New York, you could go to Harlem and get those books, but there was no real information. The internet has been the great equalizer. The internet's done two things for people. It was one, a method for the dominant society to globalize the planet to make money, but they didn't think people were going to use the internet to really share real information. So like YouTube's been around since about 2006, 2007. That has accelerated the woke movement. So now you don't have to go find a black bookstore to get information. There's thousands of documentaries on YouTube you can watch to get the information. And I think they've taken our woke term that was, to me, was a black term. That was inside the black community, to be woke or to be conscious. And even that word scared black people, because in the early 90s, if you was talking this, they'll say you too black or you one of them revolutionaries. You know what I mean? It was too black 30 years ago. And if that makes sense.
You was crazy.
You was crazy if you was talking this in the 90s. Like, I remember in the hip hop era when it sort of shifted.
And I was.
Yeah, like even when it was popular in hip hop, if you saw somebody with the African medallion chain, that was still considered revolutionary. Public Enemy was revolutionary. You know what I mean? So, and I think the internet has accelerated the wokeness, but I think the mainstream media has taken this term to Malcolm X said that phrase about how the media has the power to turn things. They've taken that term woke and associated it with black. That's just like MAGA is associated with Trump forever. You see what I mean? So they've taken that word woke and associated it with black, and they were doing that. To me, I saw it accelerating around 2016 when Trump got elected. So they started saying That's when black people were starting to stand up a lot more. We were really coming out of just the police brutality. A lot of our wokeness comes out of police brutality. It's not really no other systemic racism that we protest about. We really only protest about police brutality. Back in the 60s, they were protesting about jobs and economic empowerment, but we only hit the streets for police brutality. So they sort of hijacked that word woke. And now that the Democrats got it, and
Yeah, the Democrats got. I told you, Brian.
yeah, and it's just like,
I
to
say
me,
both of them use it, but go ahead.
it's like, to me, the term woke don't even really have the same meaning as it used to have. It used to be like a knowledge of self type thing, like you knew who you were, where you came from, your origins on the planet, that type of thing.
LGBTQ, that's what it means. Because
And they sort
they
of,
using it as woke. I'm woke to know who I really am. So I'm this and I'm that, and you can't tell me who I'm not. So that is the woke agenda now.
that's the
So
new
that's what I
woke.
say. Within cultures, it has different meanings. But go ahead, Russell. I got you. I understand.
And then I think y'all were talking
Hey,
about
let me jump in there with you, Russ.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in there with you, Russ, because this is I see exactly what you're saying, and I like I said, I agree with everybody. Woke, to me, what the media has done when they took the term for a specific reason, because you said they weaponized it, right? How you weaponize it is you dilute the word. You take the power from it. So you add everything. Now everything is woke. Everything is woke. If I see this, it's woke. If I see this, it's woke. And you took it away from, you said it, we talk about 70 years ago, police brutality. You know, that was that woke mindset. You know, we're doing something about a specific thing. And it's been diluted. You know, and that's what you get. This is diluted. And I'll get some feedback. Is that me?
I don't know.
Somebody's mic on wrong.
It ain't me.
Here I said it ain't me. But the word has been diluted, so it takes the power from my community. That makes sense.
That makes mighty sense. Hey, Crew Cut, throw it. Go ahead, Crew Cut. I want to hear what you got to say, because I know you got that tennis racket going. Hit it back.
Man, somebody mute your mic, Brian.
Why?
Just
bro.
All right, now here we go. See, we done with the. Yeah, it was you, dog. So, I agree with everything Russell said. A little bit, because back then they really wasn't woke if they was in the NOI. They really wasn't woke if they was in the Hebrew Israelites, because they had something that they believed in, and it was something that they had an agenda. The woke, when they started coming around saying they was woke, to me, like I said earlier, it meant that you didn't believe. I don't believe in Allah. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. You get what I'm saying? It was like you was kind of rebellious to everything, and you was saying like we was the major source to everything, and that was kind of the wokeness to me. You didn't give your power away to nobody. You kind of get what I'm saying? That was the wokeness. That, like you said, the 5%ers, when they were saying that the God was in them, see, that was kind of more of a woke. So like I said, I kind of agree with you. But at the end of the day, where this wokeness then went to, and where we going with it, because our children are going with it. If the mother's working all day and the kids are at home and they got their phones and all they're looking at is TikTok, and we're in trouble. And there's no way we can reverse this. You can't get no kid and don't give them no cell phone. They're gonna say there's child cruelty right now. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we got to figure out a way to get in our own children's heads, because like I said, they about to wipe us out with this Jim Crow stuff going on down here in Alabama. I mean, Mississippi. That's just a state over from me. And you know about the Bible Belt. South Carolina's a part of it as well, and North Carolina. So we got to tighten up.
True indeed. Rush, you got a
Rush, you
rebuttal?
got a rebuttal?
I just think that I've been
I've been
catching up to
catching
what's
up to
going
what's
on
going on
in
in
somebody's.
All right, go ahead.
I've been catching up to what's going on in Mississippi with some of those new laws and changes, but the woke movement as well. I mean, people don't really want to. When the person was talking about the LGBTQ community, the woke communities, people don't want to realize it, but white folks are pushing back on that too. You can see them in the school board education meetings pushing back on that in school. On that level, that's where I think all of us can have some common points, and I think that's the biggest piece that they're trying to divide. Because I see online a lot of white parents pushing back on that movement in school board meetings and in town councils
Right.
and things like that, just as we are.
Can I
But
interject right there? What you saying? I don't mean to break you up, but what you saying about the white folks bucking? That's because they're trying to make it seem like it's our movement. They're trying to make this LGBT, this gay thing, a black thing, like it's the black folks' way of life. You get what I'm saying? Like it's our history. You get what I'm saying? That's what that queer theory subject is about. I got it right here. I can pull it up for you. It's in the AP studies, and they're trying to act like we created this thing for the rights of the LGBTQ, which we did through civil rights and different things like that. But that's what we wasn't marching for that. We wasn't marching for people's sexual preferences. We was marching for the rights of people. That's what we was marching for. That's all. That's it.
so, like that point there, that I agree, I agree with that point too, as far as they're trying to push it onto us. But that's where we have to do some in-house cleaning for ourselves, because the media is going to be what the media is going to be. But we're at the point now where in our own community, African American women treat that community better than they actually treat the black man. You can see that online all the time. That's just where it's at. And that's like when I saw with Gabrielle Union at the NAACP Image Award. She was scolding black people for whatever choices they personally made, and it's gonna get to where it's gonna be against the law. And they're gonna make it probably a federal law for a black man to not want to engage in a relationship with somebody who's transitioned. They're gonna make that a federal law. They're gonna use us to push it
What?
in, but we have to take and do some in-house cleaning as well. I want to hit one more point. Y'all was talking about being on and off the grid as far as being woke. I think black people need to not really be off the grid. We need to be on our own grid. We need to have a system in place to just our basic needs at first: food, clothing, shelter, and healthcare. We don't really have that. We need a grid for that, because what I've noticed, I see a lot of people online going off the grid, black people, but they're isolated. There's a married couple in Colorado right now fighting with the county because they got 600 acres out there about an hour south of Denver, and the people in the community are poisoning their animals,
Yeah, they've been harassed.
coming onto their land. They've been arrested several times. They had to get help from the NAACP. So the few people that are going off the grid, they're very isolated. I mean, they don't really have any real support right now. Who can go to New Mexico and help that family if they needed them? Who's actually went out to Denver to help that family and call? They're very isolated. I think we need to work on. I think it'd be best to not go off the grid, but start back working on our own grids, because we had that once before. We had that in Tulsa. I live in Durham. They had that in Durham. They had it in Wilmington. Every major
Okay.
black city, and I've been doing a lot of research on Los Angeles. Los Angeles and black business was very big, and they trying to revive that out there. But we have to work on getting our own grids where we can at least start to provide our food, clothing, and shelter. Once we get our basic needs taken care of, then we can start to think about the future. That's the thing about the dominant society. Their basic needs are taken care of. So
So
they
you
can
want to take
plan 100, 200, 300 years down the road, and strategize, because their basic needs are taken care of. That's just human nature. Once your basic needs are taken care of, then you can go and start to think and strategize for other things. A lot of communities, a lot of black people in our communities, some of them struggling check to check. How can you think 10 years down the road when you can't think 2 weeks down the road?
I agree.
Thank you. You made my point about the survival mentality.
Hey, Rome,
Yes, sir.
he's made some valid points. I should have wrote them down, but let me say this. It's almost
What's up?
like what they did with the Indians. They sent them over there to Oklahoma, and they allegedly gave them land and money and food to establish themselves until they're able to establish their own way of life. Right? That's how it was supposed to be. Okay. So
Right.
now you want to take all of the Negroes from let's just say the East Coast, and try to put them on their own grid. That means you basically gonna take over the whole East Coast. Because
I
you're
think
looking at from Miami to New York, you're looking at millions and millions and millions of Negroes.
right.
Right.
I,
I'm,
I'm not gonna put
I'm not gonna
words in
put
the Russ
words in
mouth.
the
I'm gonna let
I'm gonna
Russ
let
answer that.
Russ answer
Go
that.
ahead, D.
Go ahead, dude. Is my mic good? Am I better? Y'all can't
Yeah,
hear
it's
me?
better
Yeah,
now.
it's better now. Oh, Brother Walter, are you on?
We're still getting
We're still
feedback
getting
though.
feedback though. Continue.
You good though?
You
Go ahead and
good
say
though?
what you
Go
gotta
ahead.
if
say.
it's sitting
You're
on
sitting
the
on
if
the
it's
if
sitting on
it's
the
sitting on
table
the
and
table
the
and
echoes
the
coming
echoes
off
coming
the
off
table,
the table. All
it's
right,
still
is this better? Because I don't know what to do, man. I just keep having problems on top of problems on top of problems trying to
get you
get
some
that.
headphones.
Actually, I might need
Hey
to use some
B,
headphones. Hey, D,
just say what you gotta
just say
say
what
with
you got
mute.
to say with mute. What's going on, y'all? Oh, go ahead, go ahead. Y'all keep going. Just keep going.
I guess when the guy was talking about like so many people living on the East Coast, like we would need a lot of room or space, but prior to integration, we already were in the spaces that we were in and operating in that capacity. So I don't really think we need like our own state or region of the country. We just need to go back to doing what we were doing in New York City. Harlem had its area, Chicago had its area, Philly had its area, even rural areas all over the country still was segregated. I think we're where we need to be. It's just we need to get back implementing those things. And another piece is that mental education. Like people say, ain't there ain't any black businesses. You can go online and buy anything you need to buy. You can buy toilet paper from black people. You can buy food from black people. You can buy clothing. You can buy a lot of things. We may not
True.
manufacture the cars, but there's black car dealerships. There's black construct. Everything on the internet was the great neutralizer. Like I said, they didn't think it was going to do what it's going to do. So that's why I think there's this big push to censor the internet because of the access to information. And also it's taking a lot of the younger people out of the workforce. I know y'all talking about the woke piece, but that's where I was going to add with the woke piece and the internet is that the internet's taking the young people out of the workforce. They're not going to work at McDonald's at 16 for minimum wage. They're going to go online and find a way to make money. Can you hear me? I don't know if they can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear
Okay.
you.
And it's just like there's this big push, but that the wokeness, when I say weaponized, man, they and Jerome is right, they diluted the word so much. It's like when you hear it now, it's just like nails going down the chalkboard. It don't really have the same meaning and the context that it used to have, and they're gonna keep diluting it and diluting it and diluting it until it really doesn't really mean anything. So it's almost like anytime you have a rebuttal for anything, they be like, oh, you woke. Oh, you woke. I like apples, you like oranges. The people that like apples, they woke. You know what I mean? They use it for everything. It's been diminished so bad that it really doesn't have any real it still
Meaning
does,
to it.
but it's getting diluted. And I think that I guess one of my last points is going to be black people have to start organizing more than just for police brutality. We got to get on an economic and social thing because they're saying like the increase, like they do the data. I've been following this TikTok hearing and the TikTok hearings and the Twitter hearings about how much time people are spending on these apps, and that goes across the board. All races of kids are on this app like that, and they're trying to get us back into the workforce, and the wokeness piece, they're awakening. I think white people are having their awakening versus that they're losing a lot of their system of white supremacy. So that's why they lashing out.
Right.
I don't know if
I think you make an excellent point. If I could jump in real quick, everybody that's watching, please like, please share, because you're getting a lot of great content right now. But you're talking about the system that we need to be on as a people. I think you're dead on with that, and I don't think we need land. We don't need a state. We just need to produce. We need to be producers. When we stop being producers is when the power from our hands. So think about it like the consciousness of 7 going into the 80s started, right? Because there was so much Black exploitation films during the 70s, early 70s, especially, the pimp movies, the hoe movies. And then you started to see a revitalization of how we thought, right? This during the 80s, it started to be a different way of thinking. And because we're in survival mode, we see day to day, but they see in the decades, right? So what happened from the 80s to the 90s? They organized that they were going to put together gangster rap, crack cocaine, and at the same time, they moved manufacturing from the United States into smaller countries. So taking your ability to think about manufacturing your own goods, so I mean, it's a large scale plan. That's why I call it social engineering. They've engineered this for decades. What we're experiencing now, they saw it coming in the 70s. So they made the adjustments. We can't think that far out because we're scrambling just to live. That makes sense to you?
Makes sense to us. I definitely understand. And then another piece, like I like to say that term in-house, we need to do some house cleaning because we got a lot of Black people that knew about this, but they didn't do anything about it because they were benefiting from the progress. So we still got a lot of house cleaning to do because even though they had these plans in place, we still had Black people that was working in these companies, working for government. They knew exactly what was going on, but they benefited from those positions that they had and that access that they had. So it was profitable for them to keep us in the dark. They were able to live a good life. So we have to definitely look at some house cleaning pieces. And I think just really getting back to the basics, man. Just trying your best. It's not easy to do, but just make a hard conscious effort to go and spend Black dollars throughout the month. I mean, if it means you have to buy something online, like the past 2 months, I bought a lot of shirts off Spike Lee's website, t-shirts and things. I mean, try to make that conscious effort to circulate our dollars. And then we, like you said, we do have to expand our services. I mean, in the Black community, outside of our hair care, whether it's barbershops or the beauty parlors for women or soul food restaurants or the fish places and things like that, where do we really actually go to spend our money that we spend consistently? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can y'all hear me better now? Can y'all hear me now?
Exactly. I'm agreeing. We can hear you, but it's just when you're not talking, everything else has to be feedback.
Damn, man. What the hell? But go ahead.
I agree with you.
Is he trapped again?
I agree with you, Russ. He is. What's going on, brother?
Man, it ain't working for him.
Tell that nigga to blink again. We got to make sure he all right. Give me a sign, dude. Do something. Every time I turn around, you get trapped behind some wall. Damn, boy. All right, y'all. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, Mr. Woodrow?
Okay, y'all can hear. That's beautiful. We got some that can hear and one that can't talk. Damn it, we making progress today. Man, I sit up here listening to y'all, and I don't really mean to step on nobody's toes, but I'm gonna tell you right now that woke stuff, that conscious stuff, all that bullshit was designed to put you back in that misclassification called black. And I've been sitting here listening for a minute, and that term has been used so much that it's almost done blown my mind. If y'all can't see that that was a way to put you in a class system that is lower than the class system you are supposed to be in, you will never be woke and you will never be conscious. See,
Right.
this is the facts as they lay. Right now, they tell you you woke, they tell you you conscious, and if you stop and look, your ass is still asleep.
True
Yeah.
indeed.
And the sign that you still sleep is the sign that you still go with the classification of black. Now, talk all you want to, but black all across the world signifies the lowest class of people. Ain't got nothing to do with your skin. It's still status. That's still a crayon color. And you still living in a fantasy world. You're not black.
There it is.
You are whatever your family was. And I guarantee if you go down your family line, they wasn't black either. You didn't get to be black till the 60s. I remember. See, I remember when you went from color to Negro thanks to my grandmother. And then I can remember when Negro was capitalized and everybody was so happy about it through my mother.
Right.
But black, that's a new term. That you can't be black because black doesn't mean anything. Black is just black. But you come from people.
True.
And people mean lineage. You are what your people are. You're not what somebody labels you to be. See, they took the concept of woke and the concept of consciousness and sung y'all's asses back to sleep. Only this time they put it in your head to make you think that you are awake.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But you walking around here in a damn coma. Because you hadn't taken the time to actually look at what they were doing to you. When you say woke, when you say conscious, you are automatically, just like when you say slave, think of these people over here.
Right.
Them words, they made them synonymous. Synonymous. They made them all mean the same thing and the same position that they put you in when they put you under the classification of black. It's the same system they putting you in under the classification of woke and the classification of conscious. You cannot be woke, you
Right.
cannot be conscious until you at least know where you came from. You ain't got to answer where everybody else come from. But to wake up, you got to be able to look up. And when you look up, you see your family tree up and down. You got to
Right.
find your branch. See, then you can tell somebody, I am this and I am that. What we
Exactly.
lost when we came into integration was that personal identification of who we are. Now, with the term black, anybody can come in here. As long as their skin is dark, they can
Right.
claim to be black, and then they supposed to be able to do whatever we do. But we were the ones on them lines fighting and dying. And we wasn't black then. If you was black then, you
True.
finna get your ass whooped. Because that was a derogatory term to us. Now this derogatory term became the term, and now they taking the other derogatory term and they making it the new term.
Right.
See what I'm saying? They using this psychological word game to keep you forever dreaming. You never get a
Semantics.
chance to wake up. You never wake up. Every
Exactly.
time you think you wake up, they actually singing you deeper to sleep because you taking your cues from the outside world instead of taking your cues from inside of you.
Social engineering.
See what I'm saying?
Social
But it's by
engineering.
consent. But see, wait a minute, because it's by consent. So can it be engineering?
It is.
Because see, you
If they
agree,
give you the plan and you accept it,
well, yeah, if
you
you
accepted
agree
the
to it,
plan.
that's
Exactly.
right. You
That's
you are
engineering.
just as you are just as culpable as anything else. So now, since you accepted the term black, and we know that black is only a lower social classification, the lowest social classification, guess who's white? Since you can't be there, somebody had to go there and fill that spot. So it ain't no white
Didn't start like
supremacy.
that.
It ain't white supremacy. You consented to let them people be above and you be below. And your words show that you consent to that very concept the minute you open your mouth.
Right.
That term black people should not come across your head. Check this out, man. When I was coming up, you call somebody black, you guaranteed an ass whooping. Guaranteed. Boy, I'm telling you right now.
That's almost like when I was coming up
Yeah,
and called somebody
I
African.
remember as a kid when you used to call somebody black, hey, you had to fight.
Yes. Yes. I'm
I
telling you,
remember
it's a
that.
guaranteed ass whooping. You can't do that to me to this day. That is not gonna happen. No, I am not gonna be your black person because you're not gonna stick me in that classification of people. I reject all y'all's classifications. I don't give a damn which one it is, and I'm not getting up in damn one of them. And since I've been
Go ahead,
looking at
Blue.
them so daggone long and so good, I know which classification is which, and I know where the hell not to put my foot. That's how you don't get caught up in that bullshit. You learn what's going on around you so you can make your maneuvers around that bullshit that you got to step through. It's a minefield out here, baby. And the first
And
place
that's
they
what
try to blow
consciousness
up is
is.
your brain.
That's
Now, I'm going to sit down
what
for a minute.
consciousness
You're right about that. Because I've been
is.
I was on the other week
Dennis,
when you were
up,
talking about
Stu?
that classification, and I've been doing some research on that classification thing. You're right; it goes deeper than what people think. I ran across some different concepts, but I remember you was talking about that, and I wrote that down. I've been looking into that classification thing, and then you are right. The more we peel back the layers on that onion, we not who they really say we are, and a lot of people aren't who they say they are.
True.
Can I
I
jump
mean,
in?
that's
Can I
true.
jump in now?
Come on,
Still
B.
got a lot of
He
Come
can
feedback.
on.
talk.
You
Yeah,
sound good,
everybody
man.
shut up. Hush, hush, hush. Go ahead. Come on, hurry up while you got a chance. You need some water? What? Come on.
Yo, so from what I'm getting from you, brother Walthrow, since we keep denying who we are as a people by labeling ourselves as other names, other conscious, being black, being Negro, we're not in consideration our indigenous heritage here on this continent, correct?
No, no, no. You're not considering your rights, your natural God given rights as a person from a place on this planet. Everybody else can say, I came from. But for some reason, they don't want you to ever know where your feet first touched the ground because you have a natural right to be there, a God given natural right. They're not just taking some material bullshit or even some little old minor shit. They're into the ethereal, man. They trying to put a cap on your whole complete being. See, we down here playing on this level almost just a little above the ground, and these people is way out in space. And they show you this shit every day on TV. We sitting down here playing down here. They up in space playing in space. But we can't
Question I
get
have is
past
where
this.
do we start? Where would you say, since you said about the classification piece, where would a person start for the classification, or were you able to go back and find a classification for yourself? Like you said, we do have a natural place where we are from on this earth, like who we actually are outside of the labels. So for a person that's listening right now, where would they start to find or start to peel back that layer for the classification piece to sort of come out of those labels and start being, like you said, that person where you're thinking from within to navigate?
Well, you follow your family. Because as your family progressed through the years, they went through all the different classifications. And like anything else, you have an original story, and then they start laying different layers on top of it. So you got to snatch them layers back until you get to the root. But I can tell you this: we as a people, our name, our classification gets changed on kind of a regular basis. And you can walk that stuff all the way back down till you get to the root. And when you get to the root, then you know who you are. Because you done had to do a lot of studying trying to get to that root. And as you do that studying, that enlightens you, that broadens your mind. So the journey becomes more important than the destination. But you just start walking that tree down, man, and start looking at what was going on with the people, not on TV, not in a book, not on somebody's storyboard, but the people that was actually in your family going through the actual things they had to go through. And the paper trail is there. I'm
Right.
not going to tell you it's going to be an easy walk because it's not. This is not an easy walk. But this is such a beautiful and mind expanding walk that you really, really gain some deep, like, peace when you can see what was going on and you can understand what was going on and you can contextualize everything that they went through and summarize it up into yourself. And it's like embracing who you truly are because we all are the people we came from. How you gonna be a whole person if you don't know the people you came from?
Right.
My mother asked me once before, she said, why do you do this genealogy stuff so much? I'm like, check it out, baby. It's really simple. One day I'm gonna leave this earth and I'm gonna have to join these people that I now call my ancestors, and I'll be an ancestor. I at least want to know some of their names when I get there, and some of their stories when I get there, so I can honor those that brought me through what I had to go through. See? But see, I can connect it all the way from the root to the eternal if you need to, because it all lies right there in you. So you don't have to go venturing out all across the seven seas and around the world and sitting in trees and hugging rocks. You don't have to do none of that. All you got to do is understand you and where you came from. And partner, at the end of that journey, you got nirvana. Because when it's your turn to cross over and you see them ancestors, they're not strangers to you and you are not strangers to them.
Let me ask
See
you
what
a
I'm saying?
question, Brother Walter.
Hmm.
Can you hear me? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
yeah.
you
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
refer to yourself, so when you refer to yourself, refer to yourself as.
Now I can't hear you. What, they got you too?
Can you hear the question?
No, there you is. I thought they had you
No.
trapped over
Can
there
you
with
hear me?
him. I can now.
No, I got away from B. I had to get away from
Yeah,
B.
I don't
But
blame you. No, you got to get up. No, you need to go over there real close to him because obviously somebody need to be there to make sure they don't grab this nigga no more. They keep kidnapping
so
his
when you
ass.
so when you refer to yourself, what do you refer to yourself as? Because we know
When
it's
I,
not
when
black,
I,
we know it's not Negro.
no, no, it's not even Indian.
So what do you refer to yourself as?
Walter Wallace Wesley.
I get your name, but I'm saying as a people.
No, that's me. How can I refer to myself any other way? That's me. I told you it all is based on your family. My name puts me in my family. Walter, if I fill out an application, baby, that's what you're gonna get.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I know
I
that
got
it
you.
doesn't have to do. Because see, what you talking about there is you trying to get me to classify myself in a system that I reject all classification from. See what I'm getting at? So the only
I
way I can
understand.
stand here, man, is as
Oh, I do.
myself. And the only way I can walk here is
So we all
with
stand
my
alone,
family.
right?
Well, yeah, you stand
But
alone,
we
but
all
you
stand
stand in the
alone.
community. You still, but you see, you understand. You came here alone, didn't you? didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna leave here alone,
Yes, sir.
ain't you? Okay then. So being
Yes,
alone ain't
sir.
the most terrible thing to happen to you. That's your individuality. Then you can bring your individuality together with other people and their individual capacities, and y'all can live y'all's individual lives in the same location, and it's not an impact on anybody. We just kicking it. My shit ain't your shit. Your shit ain't my shit. You keep your shit over there. We'll go save Jerome when we have to, and I'll keep my shit over here. See what I'm saying?
I don't need to be rescued. Why y'all keep saying I need to be rescued,
Because
man?
you, hush, because you get trapped over there. We have to see signs of proof of life out of you. I need some blinkings or some hand waving. Throw up a sign. I got to have something. No, don't be. See, this is what I'm talking about. You be all over there. You be trying, and then you can't, and then all of a sudden you might just a little bit, and then it's like somebody got you, man. I'm trying to figure out how I can save you. I don't know. That name, love it, man, make me want to make sure you're gonna be all right.
Hey, hold up. We got another guest on. Wow, I see the name that you done put on the water, Brian. Wow.
Well,
Hey,
you
Brian,
know, other Brian.
we want to get your perspective. We started off talking about whiteness and being woke, not whiteness, wokeness, because we don't know what whiteness is. So that's something
I
that
don't
we'll
know what whiteness
never
is.
understand.
Fair.
But we wanted to get from a different culture, different perspective of how you think and what you feel what wokeness is.
Oh, so that one's easy.
Oh, it
Wokeness
is.
is
We'll
the
see.
is the educated perspective and understanding that there are systemic racial injustices in America and that you don't like it. And that's the part that really blows my mind. Right? No good human being is going to go, "You know what? I really like racial injustice. I think systemic uh stacking the deck against somebody because of the color of their skin for years and years and years is a great idea." Nobody says that. But then you've got people who are like, "Well, I don't like wokeness." Do you even know what it means? I mean, I think, what is it? 2014, the Ferguson riots were happening. I think that's when it really went like mainstream, where people started throwing this term around, right? But I think they threw it around with just knowing the context, but not the actual thrust of the idea. You can put hashtag woke on something, but if you don't understand what that is actually identifying, this is what leads to a lot of Republicans, for example, going, "Oh, woke is destroying America, and we need to get woke out of our system." I'm like, well, do we? Are you saying that America's perfect and that there's no problems and that there isn't racial injustice? Because if you are, I question you further. Like, there's a lot of critical thinking that's not happening here.
All right. We wanna jump in. Crew cut, where you at, man?
I had a quick question. I'll wait my turn though. I'll wait my turn.
No, I want to know, crew cut still here?
Yeah, I'm
Well, go
here.
ahead then. Hold up, Jerome, you might. You on mute, Mike. Jerome. All right, go ahead. Who want to jump in?
Oh, but no, Kuka, son, he's on here. Go ahead,
Go
Russ.
ahead, Russell. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to wait my turn. I'll get long winded. Like when I was listening to you, Brian, you was giving me a definition of the wokeness and how it sort of infiltrated the mainstream in 2014 with the Ferguson piece. That was the first place I remember seeing. I think I was on that app back then. I think Black Planet was still popular then, and that's the first place I saw the term Black Lives Matter. And I think that term I think Ferguson brought out the term Black Lives Matter because that was the first time I ever heard it. Because I found out about the Ferguson shooting through Black Planet. Somebody in that area posted it like soon as it happened. I guess they lived in that community. But like when I hear your definition of what you think, what you say from your perspective, what wokeness is like, it's like night and day from what I thought wokeness was. What I thought wokeness was just an awareness of who you are, where you come from, your origins on this planet. And I know for me, black people, wokeness was knowing your history, knowing where you come from, knowing just different parts of our culture was considered wokeness. And earlier I was talking about how that term has been weaponized against us. And then when I hear when I hear you give your definition, that's the end result of like weaponization, because initially, I can't speak for everyone, but to me, wokeness in the black community wasn't just racial injustice. It was more of a knowledge base. And when I say knowledge, it was knowledge of a lot of things. And it wasn't just like racial injustice, because we've all, black people, especially in America, have already dealt with racial injustice. So we really didn't need a term for it, like wokeness, to represent it. It was what it was. Like, we had the term police brutality. That was, now you can say wokeness with police brutality, when there were terms that were already in place to represent certain things that were happening to us in this country. So like that definition, to hear your version of the definition, it shows how people view, how different people view what's happening into society, and how they label it and put it into a definition so they can understand it. And I just think that definition is more of a mainstream definition. And then you were saying like the Republicans they're trying to get rid of wokeness. They're trying to get rid of wokeness. And I think the Republicans push back to wokeness because earlier we were talking about how they've used word association as big. Wokeness was associated with being black. So that word association thing, like I was telling them earlier, MAGA is associated with Trump, associated with white supremacists, associated with white nationalists. The media is great with using words to associate it to certain things. And we think that it's been diluted so much that everything's so woke, so woke, so woke, so woke. And this person on here earlier saying that we're really asleep. And that's technically where that work world is going, because it's getting diluted so much that it really doesn't have the power that it has. But it was great to hear your definition from how you see things and what your definition of the wokeness was.
Well,
That's why I say, well, hold up. That's why I say when it comes to a culture, wokeness has different meanings, depends on the culture that you represent. So I agree with you, Russ. Russell, I understand. I got you. Go ahead, Brian.
the definition I quoted was actually coined by a Georgia Ann Muldrew, which was a jazz artist from the 60s. That came around the same time as CRT, which is why the two are often conflated. You say police brutality, but I'm not just referring to that. I'm saying systemic injustice in that. If you look at earning potential between white and black families, we're reaching the closest parity we've ever had in the last 200 years. And a lot of people will point to that and go, look, see, there's no problem. But then if you look at the wealth gap between white and black families, white families have something like 5 times the stored accumulated wealth as black families. Why is that? Well, I don't know. But if all things were equal and there was equity, then that would not be. So stay woke is not necessarily, hey, the man's trying to get you down. There might not be a man in this particular case, especially when you start talking about critical race theory, which isn't the boogeyman a lot of people put out to be. It's just the awareness that there are systems in effect that are not even. Taking out a bank loan, taking out a small business loan, access to education, access to wealth generation. If you walk down the street of Philadelphia and you grab 10 people and 8 of them are black, and you say, hey, what does your portfolio look like? How many of them are going to be knowledgeable and talking about wealth generation via mutual funds? You know, do we have discussions? Do black fathers have discussions with their black sons about capital gains tax and what estate tax will mean? And so it's not racist being racist per se. It's these systems that have evolved over the last 200 years that have had input from people who were racist and subsequent people who are not racist, but don't see any reason to change the status quo.
Yeah, Bryant, I think that's your name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a little pushing, but because your whole conversation is really kind of a racist conversation because you built it on the assumption that we were black. And we're not black, so that whole conversation wouldn't hold no weight over here. And another thing, if you were to play on an equal field, you will quickly see that we would dominate that field, which is why they had to come and burn down all the black Wall Streets in this country because of the amount of wealth that they generated without them. See, what we're living through now is not a symptom of white supremacy or CRT or any of that shit. What we're living through now is the repercussions of integration. Before we were integrated into the broader society, we were the dominant society. We control the wealth in this country. We control the land in this country. You got to understand, they can't put us on an even playing field because they can't compete with us on an even playing field. That's why you see what you see in place today. It ain't got nothing to do with all the rest of that stuff. CRT is a lie. Anything built on 1619 is a lie. Anything built on that slave story is a lie. Because y'all not even understanding who the slaves were, and y'all not even understanding the extent of the property that they were actually allowed to live on. There's nothing happening in a daggum vacuum, but this is not white supremacy. That's a concept that makes no sense. Because how anybody, I don't give a damn what color you call yourself, gonna be supreme over me is not, no. I'm the supremacist. I'm the Walter Wallace Wesley supremacist. See? So I'm not worried about all that stuff there. And I know my history, so I know CRT ain't based on shit. So I don't need that either. Matter of fact, I don't even need that indoctrinated into my kids in our school system. But we wouldn't have had that if we hadn't integrated and stayed segregated and built our own schools like we have always done. The problem was we turned over responsibilities for ourselves to another group of people, and they're not doing right. That's all.
I see what you're saying, Brother Walker. I don't think he wasn't. I'm just not talking for him, but I don't think he meant it in a sense because we use black as that's just the word that we represent ourselves. That's our fault. That's our fault because we keep representing ourselves as black. Like you say, black means nothing. We know black means nothing. Black has no power. Where in the dictionary do black means anything? I understand where you're coming from, Brian. I'm looking at it in the sense of, I hear what both of y'all saying, not disagreeing with none of y'all. I agree with both of y'all on both sides that you're coming from. Because I understand about the Brother Walter going to bring an old school because you are an ancestor to us because you're bringing it from a different perspective that we haven't lived. You done lived went through the battles, the scars that we don't have to go through to the day. Am I correct? Because the way and what you say, I listen because I'm hearing knowledge brought forth, and I appreciate you, and I'm giving you your flowers just because you are even brave enough to even just come on this set with us and say, "Hey, I got you," but this is a different perspective because We're coming from a different era. So CRT has no power. Still don't even understand the whole fucking meaning behind that. But when it comes to us as a people now and the way society is now, it's a fight. I think it's a fight because somebody's losing power and they just scrapping and scrapping because the more knowledge that we understand us as a people. Now, when I say a people, I'm saying as a group of people, because again, the knowledge that we've been taught in school is not knowledge. That just like Jerome said, that's indoctrination. So I understand what Brian is saying. Brian's saying from from an economical sense of we're not teaching, it's been held back because of the integration that we have done, that we lost that power because we see in the 20s and I see in the 30s and I see in the 40s. That's why I said that the Great Depression didn't affect us. It didn't affect the Black community. It affected everybody else. And then integration was what brought them out of that depression. Am I right? Or I'm gonna just, y'all see what I'm coming from? So
You're exactly right. You are exactly right.
So we being used.
Hold on. They had no economic base to work from. They didn't have the ability to generate economic wealth at that time because we controlled the land. See what I'm getting at? So when we went over there and gave up all our responsibilities to other people, it seems like we never made the connection that we was giving up our roots, our soul. When I went to school, and it's good to hear you talking, Jerome. When I went to school, uh, my teachers had lived in my community their entire lives, and their parents had lived in my community their entire lives. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk in our classes, our conversations, you pick up a history book and you read a chapter in the history book, and then you can start naming them where your people fit into that history you just read. That's how we learn history. We don't teach our kids, so now they just read the paragraph, what the paragraph say, and move on to the next thing. And over the time, we've lost connection to who we are. See, we got to start to remember who we are. This ain't gonna never be fixed.
Brother
In the
Wathro.
current situation we live in today.
Brother Wathro, I'm Brian.
Yeah.
Jerome is the one without the hair. I got the
Wait
hair.
a minute.
Jerome,
I done lost connection with everybody. Hold on a minute, man. Oh, wait, Jerome laughing.
No, I'm Brian. Jerome is the other one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hell, y'all quit moving.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
Wait
a minute. Give me a minute. I got
Brian, you were talking about like
y'all got me messed up. Hold on.
The other Brian, you were talking about just like the wealth gap.
Y'all playing games on the old man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, like you were talking about like the education piece, like the wealth gap, just different concepts that like the gap between white and Black communities as far as wealth, generational wealth and things. I sort of like that's used a lot in statistics. And to me with that statistic, they never to me, at least to me, it's never compared in the right context because like Black people are some of those systems, especially financial systems, are targeted towards Mr. Walther. I'm gonna say it to you, so-called Black people. We're gonna get this right today, but it's targeted towards us. But my question would be: no one talks about the wealth gap parallel. Like, what's the wealth gap between the richest Black person and the poorest Black person? What's the wealth gap between the richest white person and the poorest white person? If you start to talk about wealth gap in the same race, then you'll see that Black people really, you can compare apples and oranges because that system was in place there's an economic system in place, because I heard Warren Buffett, he did an interview back in the 80s. He said if he was a black person born on the same day he was born, he would not be one of the richest people in the world. It's just the system that's in place. So if we look at the wealth gap among white people and see that gap, the gap's way larger than if you looked at the wealth gap between the richest black person and the poorest black person. So to compare those two, because there is a system in place that targets black people, like social injustice, like you speak on, and I like your perspective, because I like to hear how that information is being processed and gathered. Like you gave a definition from the 60s. So like a white person can say, or a non quote unquote black person can say they've been mistreated, or there's some kind of social injustice against them, but is it targeted? So like a police could stop a white person walking on the sidewalk, say, hey, give me your ID. They may feel that that's social injustice, but is it targeted? Black people are targeted in this system of whatever's been created to keep us at a certain level. But the thing that I would like people to look at would be the statistical piece of the wealth gap. I know I'm all over the place. I'm looking at my notes, but go back to that wealth gap. Look at the wealth gap between the richest white people and the poorest white people. That gap is way bigger than the gap between the richest black people and the poorest black people. Whether you're talking land ownership, generational wealth, there's black people that may not have the monetary wealth, but have more land, more resources, things of that nature. So that the statistics can be used to present whatever picture they want to present. And I think it's always used to show the wealth gap between black and white people, which we already know there's going to be a wide gap because there's financial systems in place. It just came out, was it last year, that during the housing crisis, black people were denied refinancing during the pandemic.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Now,
so,
just
like,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to clarify, everybody has poor people. Everybody, every race, every demographic are going to have the guy who owns nothing and lives on the street. And you're right. If you look at the absolute wealthiest black person in the world, I think it's a Nigerian businessman worth like $11 billion. But the richest white guy is like trillions of dollars, right? Whatever. I don't care about that. Absolutely do not. Those are things and numbers and people that do not matter to me because they will never affect me one way or the other. What I care about is Americans having equal opportunity. You and me are both Americans, and I want you and your kids to have the same opportunities, the same chances, the same benefits. I want them to go, to be able to go, even if they don't want to be able to go and do the exact same things on the exact same merits.
That's a good point. I got one more point. I'm gonna have to get ready to go. There's equal, like equal. We all have equal opportunity. Capitalism isn't based off of being equal. I agree with capitalism. Like right now, Brian, you and I both can open a store and start a business, but you're not guaranteed equal outcomes. There's systems in place to manipulate the equal outcome. It's when you say fairness, there can't be fairness in capitalism. It's fairness in that we should all have access to open a business. We can't have fairness in who makes the most money, because that's what the capitalistic system is based on. Everyone's not going to be equal. If the system was set up like that, it wouldn't be struggling. I'll say struggling non-black people, because this system was devised for them to win. So we all have equal opportunity to start a business. No one's guaranteed equal results. And I think that's what people get. I see a lot of people on TV and talking about these big corporations and things like that, because they want to see the equal result. And you're not going to get the equal result. There is equal at the start line. Like I said, I can start a business today. You can start a business today, but the outcome won't be equal. The injustice piece would be when you start your business, The city comes out and just signs off on your paperwork. But when I start my business, he tells me I need to get my flooring done. I need my wiring's not right and everything's together. And then when I pay $10,000 to get it fixed, it's something else. It's something else. It's location. It's you're too close to a school. Your sign's not lit up like it's supposed to be. Oh, you got too much people over here. You need to build a parking lot in the back. And your business is right beside my business, but you don't have all of those delays. See, that's where the fairness doesn't come in capitalism, because we both have the opportunity to start businesses, but we don't have the opportunity for equal outcomes. And that happens a lot in business, where if it's not true, then why do we have mandatory minorities have to get bids from the government?
It is true. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. So that was just my point. My last point was that capitalism it's not equal outcome, it's equal start. We all can start businesses, but we're all not guaranteed the equal outcome.
It's true.
A lot of people don't know how to run a business.
I don't.
That's true. I think.
Yeah.
So you can give a person $1 million a day,
too,
and they can start a business tomorrow and be dead broke. The next, and they can be white or black. Or at the end of the day, is where that person mindset at who's running the business. Because right now, in this time, I can you can start any kind of business right now, and it can thrive and flourish and be better than any other business that anybody else put together. It's all on the individual when it comes down to that, and marketing, and also capitalism, because you got to have money to put your business out there. It seems like you don't have to have the best food, you just got to have more money, and now more people gonna know about you because you got more reach than the person who has the better food or the better quality of food.
So Russell, if you think if Donald Trump started with your assets, do you think he'd be anywhere near as successful? Or do you think it was that small loan of $1 million from his dad day one?
I think it's a combination of both, because just because you're given $1 million don't mean you're going to be successful. It's non-white people in this country who started with less that has more than Donald Trump. So it's not really, it's a combination of your business savvy, your resources, it's timing. It's a lot of things in place to get that result. I read this book called The Richest Man in Town. That's one of my favorite books. It's about these 100 millionaires and billionaires who didn't inherit any money. So it's like, you can say, oh, they gave him a loan and that helped him, but he also had connections. His parents were connected. He made the right business decisions, because he could have took that $1 million and said, hey, I'm going to open a bunch of White Castle's restaurants, or I'm going to open a clothing store. He chose real estate. Just making that choice, which he learned from his father, separated him from the rest of the class. So to say that he only succeeded because he got $1 million loan, I don't think so. People go and get loans, and people start businesses with less.
I'm sorry. The $1 million loan jab is more of a representational. He started the race 100 feet ahead of the next guy. The money, the information from his father, the familial connection. To say that Donald Trump was playing on a level playing field with anyone is ridiculous.
I would say not true, because then I would say, look at Bill Gates. His parents gave him money as well. But look where Bill Gates is versus Donald Trump. Look at Elon Musk. His parents weren't rich as Donald Trump's family, but business savvy with resources and the right idea, and to push it makes a difference. Look at Jeff Bezos.
Whoa. Let me disagree with you with Elon Musk.
I got to disagree with you with Elon Musk. I think it's more of, like I said, capitalism gives you an equal opportunity to start, but you won't get equal outcome. That's just like everyone on this panel can be given $1 million, but we're not going to get the same results, because all of us are going to go in different directions. And then who knows which business deal you should have took versus which one you shouldn't have taken. So to say that Donald Trump had he's 100 miles ahead of the average non-white person. Put him on the same playing field with white people. That's what I was saying earlier. Compare the wealth gap between your race. You put him on the playing field with white people in business. He didn't get 100-mile head start. A lot of people started with way less than him and ended up with way more than him. I know Elon Musk started with less than he did. Jeff Bezos started with less than he did.
Wait,
Jeff
do you know what Elon Musk's dad does or did?
Yeah, but he was very wealthy as well. But he didn't have the $1 million startup.
Absolutely. He owns diamond and sapphire mines in South Africa.
Correct. So why is Elon Musk so far ahead of Donald Trump? Because it's trajectory of business. It's the different type of business you started. Trump went into real estate. Elon Musk went into service.
Elon Musk bought PayPal. He didn't come up with it. He bought it. He didn't come up with Tesla. He bought it. He didn't come up with SpaceX. He bought it.
Business decisions.
Okay, but are you telling me he made a completely uninformed business decision all by himself, or he had a team of people looking at prospectus, looking at business plans, going, hey, here's where the money's going to be, making 20-year forecasts?
So it goes back to my original point, comparing white people to white people. Trump didn't have any more of a head start than anyone else. And then what about the people who had less than Donald Trump that started businesses? That's more successful than him.
But I want everybody to be equally successful.
You can't be equally successful. That's not the system we're on. That's capitalism doesn't guarantee everyone to be equally successful. It guarantees everyone has the opportunity to start.
But we don't have a truly capitalist society. We have monopoly laws. We break up big businesses that are too successful. We have a socialized social security system. It's got social in it. We're pushing towards subsidized medicine from the government. Like, we're not a pure capitalism. It's like saying we use the imperial system, but you buy a 2-liter soda. That's not that's metric. That's not. I mean, I understand.
When you say everyone to be equally successful, what does that look like? Because you made a statement about subsidizing medicine. People push back on pharma all the time about the profits. Does anyone know how much it costs to take a drug from molecule to marketplace? That's what it's called. I work in this industry. Molecule to marketplace. A pharma company can spend over $1 billion to get a drug to the FDA and it don't even get approved. How do they get that money back? And they have to have drugs in the pipeline because that's how it advances. The government, you don't want the government to make the medicine. The government can easily make the medicine. But like I said, people don't understand. Capitalism is not equal outcome. Everyone's not going to have an equal outcome, but you do have an equal chance to start. That's the only thing I can say about capitalism.
Hold up, Russ. Can I say this? You saying capitalism like it's an okay thing and it's equal. You know capitalism is not equal. You know you can go to the bank, I go to the bank. We're not gonna get the same outcome. It depends on the region that you're at, and it depends on the relationship you have with the bank. So I just can't walk into a bank and say, hey, can I get a business loan? Because they're gonna ask you 50 million questions on why you can't get one. And first you're gonna get denied. Now if you go back in there and do it again, yes, they might. It just depends on how persistent you are with doing it. And plus, a lot of people have got I mean, you got to understand, if we built this country, but we get treated as less, who got the head start? How are we going to catch up? Because that's the fight that we're trying to do. How are we going to be able to catch up? He's saying, how can we be equal? I can understand what equal is being level-footed, like me and you looking at each other as the same versus fuck Trump. I go ahead and tell you now, Trump to me never even respected him because Trump is a fraud anyway. Nothing that he has is sustained. Everything, he just a persona that everybody follows because of I talk big. He always been that guy. So I never use him as an example of anybody saying he's a rich person, because if you go look at it, when somebody hides your records, your tax records, you're hiding it for a reason, because you're not as rich as you say you are. But at the same time, it's whatever teaching you got. Think about how did we have economics? We had economics for 1 year in high school, and that's only half a semester when I went to high school. And then he took that away because they took it away because I need you to be a worker. I don't need you to think. I just need you to work. And that's the problem. We got to get out of that mindset of we don't believe in ourselves that we can be anything because, for one, us in the community, we beat up on ourselves. You can have a business, and I guarantee you, somebody gonna have something wrong with the business that you started up, or they're gonna say, "Well, why you ain't giving a handout for me? Why you ain't trying to hook me up? Why?" Because I understand you trying to run your business, but in our community, we looking at you as, "Oh, you trying to be like them." You see what I'm saying? So it's a mentality of the thought process when it comes to who we are, because capitalism don't mean the same thing when it comes to different cultures. Because I can go to the Caribbean and they don't look at it like the way we look at it. The American culture is happen to be a dominant culture that is being pushed worldwide, and that's the problem. We need to get out of the
Y'all
world.
got me out here long enough supposed to. I'm about to go, but this very last point. The reason I know capitalism worked for us before we was integrated.
True, and we was a tribe. We was two.
So before then, capitalism does work. There are the issues with access to capital, access to resources, and things like that. But capitalism in the system that we're on, like I said, it doesn't guarantee equal outcomes, and it doesn't guarantee. The only thing it guarantees is equal. Everybody has the opportunity to start. So I'm not gonna hold you guys up. I got to get ready to head out, man. It was good to be on the panel, Brian. Nice meeting you. I'll check in when I can, but we just got to remember that we're getting ready to go into a whole new transition phase. I'm reading this book called The Great COVID-19, The Great Reset. We're going into a big change, and whatever they got going on, something's bubbling, and I think they're burning at both ends to keep us sort of distracted. We got the whole TikTok, Twitter thing. We got I think the banking issue is more than what they're trying to make it on TV, as far as like that bank that just went under. I think it's a lot more going on. They're not trying to get the people all riled up, and I think that's the biggest piece of why they're trying to get rid of a lot of these outlets for people to share information and things like that. So like I said, man, it was good to be up here today. I'm gonna have to head out. Brian, it was good meeting with you. Hope I can catch up with y'all again, Jerome.
Pleasure.
Yeah, fellas.
Peace, bro.
Oh,
Appreciate
I was going to ask him a question. No, I was thinking about what he was just saying about what they doing about with the TikTok and things, and about people passing out information because of the banks that's collapsing and maybe other banks about to collapse, and by stopping people from running to the bank and pulling all their money out the banks is what's kind of stopping it. But how many people got money in the bank that can be actually pulled out at the end of the day?
Can I add something to this?
Go ahead.
So if you start with demographics, trust me, this is a chain, but just follow. You can disagree, you can agree. I just want to lay out a chain of events. We had baby boomers. Baby boomers were like 2/3 of the population of working adults. This year, baby boomers are retiring on the median, which means the previous 4 years and the next 4 to 9 years, we're going to lose 400,000 to 900,000 working class Americans every year. When people retire, they pull their money out of mutual funds and investments. They go to T-bonds and cash. They go to a small revenue stream. They stop buying things because they already own everything that they need. They don't buy new, they might buy property for a revenue stream, but they're not buying new cars every year. They're not, getting their roof redone every year because they don't have that income stream anymore. But now the cost of capital is going way up, and we have fewer people working, so the cost of labor is going up. So the Fed has been raising interest rates. One of the problems with the cost of higher capital is it's harder to get a loan. If you look at the tech sector, like SVB and the Silicon Valley Bank, right, SVB, they were primarily a tech startup bank. what they did is you had the next greatest idea. They loaned you $2 million, not for an immediate return, but a return 3 years from now when you invent the next Bitcoin or whatever. But now that the cost of capital has increased and the cost of labor has increased, banks, I think, are going to start tightening down on research, basically. But the fact remains is we now have fewer people doing jobs at a higher cost. So I think the economic sector is actually going to start changing. The other thing is the Fed start buying back the balance sheet.
Oh, he
So,
breaking up.
when they
Yeah,
hit
you're breaking up.
what?
No, I can hear you now.
Should I stop? Go on?
No, come
No,
on.
go ahead.
Keep going.
So the Fed lowers interest rates to help control inflation. But once they get down to like 1-2%, close to zero, there's nothing. So they started buying, which isn't really a job. So they've been buying and buying and buying, and now finally we're in a spot where even though we're increasing costs and the economy is actually going pretty good. It's growing, which is the best you could say about it. And the Fed announced, well, we're going to start getting rid of this balance sheet because it's not our job to own stuff. So again, the cost of capital is going to go much higher. So the things that we getting invested in are going to be infrastructure, buildings, roads, schools that we need, as opposed to speculative stuff like the next flying electric helicopter. Those are going away for the next 10 years. Like there's not any money for it. So that is this underlying current is the generational shift from baby boomers being a productive member of society to simply being.
So now we ain't got nobody to work no more.
Nobody wants to work them all.
We woke now. We in the woke era.
So
Today's term, yeah.
So you have the next generation. There's only one every.
Brian,
you breaking up bad.
no, I'm talking about brother Brian.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Brian, mute yours. Yeah, mute yours. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So it looks a bit like a snake swallowing a pig. You've got this huge demographic bulge where the baby boomers were, and when baby boomers went to work, they lowered the cost of labor because they were all fighting each other. One of the other things that happened was baby boomers they basically invented the 2-income household. They had to have it because there wasn't enough money to go around. So there's this highly competitive space now where nobody gets paid a lot, but everybody's fighting for whatever job is possible. Well, now it's going away. You got Gen Zers that have the pick of the job they want. All these guys that are 65, 68 years in executive positions or high-level manufacturing positions that are retiring, there's a Gen Zer to step in every shoe and still have open spaces. Now, below the Gen Zers, you got the millennials. I'm a millennial, and the problem with millennials is we have the lowest skill set per generation. We took a year to find ourselves in France. We failed out of college. We were told by our parents, the boomers, that if you followed the plan and kept your head down and got along, you would do fine. And that the American dream was white collar America. Because for them, that's what happened. Not for us. So we're an easy to get along. We're relatively large, but we're relatively skillless. So we're going to be the plumbers and the electricians and the carpenters that even exist for the next 10 to 20 years. Because behind us, you got the Zoomers. That's the Gen Z's kids. Gen Z's, the people who became adults in the late 80s, early 90s, they spent their entire lives getting shit on by boomers. And so they taught their kids, you got to work hard. Nobody's going to give you anything. You're not going to deserve anything you get. You just got to take what you can grab. And so there's this highly motivated and very small group of Zoomers coming up. But the thing with them is they're antisocial. They don't like human beings. They don't get along well. They're very competitive. But once again, they're getting slotted into a market where you're just throwing people at all these jobs, and you're still going to have open jobs. So that's where you start hearing.
Now,
You start hearing.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry, I mean cut you off.
No. Please go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned what we call the trades jobs, which would be the plumbers, the carpenters, the electricians, right?
Mm.
Those are people who are actually making the money now. A plumber makes as much money as a doctor does.
Absolutely.
An electrician, I have a friend who's a licensed electrician right now, and he's bringing in almost 5 G's a month, and he barely goes to work.
Yeah.
So these jobs that everybody has spent all this time looking down on because they thought that the college education was going to actually get them somewhere are now and have been the jobs that actually pay good money. But we've been trained to see things as I gotta go to high school, I gotta go to college, then I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna get me a job in the air conditioning. And when you come out and you try to get a job in the air conditioning, you find that there's so many other people that came out thinking they was gonna get that same job in the air conditioning. That now nobody is getting a job in the air conditioning. But you don't know that if you went right down the street and went to the trade school, you'd have saved yourself $100,000 and you would be working continuously. And you could take care of your family and you could do what was necessary. What got lost was the fact that people quit actually working with their hands. They started trying to work with computers and work with this and work with all this other stuff when it's really just what can you do with your hands? Your hands can make you all the money you want if you know how to use it. The electricians and the plumbers and the carpenters, they're the most economically stable people in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no challenge to their dominance in the economic system right now because of the fact that they actually have a talent and a trade that they can take outside of somebody's workplace and actually put to use on their own and control their own destiny. You see, with a college education, all that does is educate you to go work for somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Because there's only so many consulting jobs running around here. But if you come out here with a license to weld, your butt can't stay home.
True.
They're gonna drive you crazy working you every single day. So instead of getting caught with a large, almost insurmountable college debt, you could get caught with a large, almost insurmountable bank account.
True
But
indeed.
nobody looked at it. Nobody looked at it that way. See, we were all sold this college bill of goods because as the people came out of high school and went into college, they did not stop to look at the trades. So
Right.
now the trades can't find enough people, and they're paying extremely good money for the ones that they can find. And the college educated people are running around here working at McDonald's because they don't have the money, the skills to go over and work in the trades.
True.
Nobody utilizes, and I'm gonna tell you this, because you can't say the opportunity ain't there. Every state in this country has a vocational education system that stands right beside the university system. But you notice the schools don't direct you toward the vocational system. See, here where we live at in Oklahoma, the high schools, you would start doing a vocational training thing somewhere around the 10th grade. And you would do the basic book work while you were in high school. And when you would come out of high school, you would go into trade school as an apprentice. And after a year, maybe two in trade school, you would come out as a journeyman and then you are making some real good money and you're only 19, 20 years old. So now you got, if you take your working career and span it out over 40 years, your income at the end of that 40 years is really a lot higher or at least on par with somebody who went to college. But our
It's true.
schools have been designed not to teach us this system.
Mm.
They want you to go here and then you end up frustrated, hungry, unable to make two ends meet at any time. And then you mad because the school system didn't prepare you for what you had to go out in this world to do. But what they should have told you in high school is this thing called personal responsibility. And you are actually responsible for the outcome you see in your life. You see? So after you became an adult, if you chose to go the college route knowing that that's a dead end junction and didn't go to the trade school, which is your opening, then that's kind of your fault. And then after you go through the college system and you got the college debt, you need to pay the college debt. If you still don't look over there at the trade school and think about learning how to use your hands in some kind of fashion that will earn you, you lose. Hold on, I got a call coming through.
You fine. Oh, B, you still on there? Hello?
I just hear
B, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. That ain't me ringing. I got mine on mute.
Okay.
All
Hey,
right,
I
hold on.
think
Can
we had a
y'all hear
good
me?
point. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, whoever said that, I can hear you.
I said, that's me. I was just wondering.
Okay.
I just got that call come through. But I would advise everybody to take the time to go look into the trade schools instead of just relying on this concept that you got to go to college to make a living. We survived through all the hard times because our children were raised using their hands and they all knew how to earn an income after they left home.
Right.
We don't teach our kids that no more. See, by the time I got out of high school, I could rebuild a motor in a car. You see what I'm saying? I knew how to operate a tractor.
Right.
I knew how to tend to a
Right.
garden. I knew how to raise animals. I knew all this because that's what we had to do to survive. But in the process of surviving, I was also being re-educated. So when I come out into this world out here, I didn't come out to this world out here going looking for a college education. I came out here looking for something that I had to do with my hands because I knew that if I put my hands on it, I can actually make it go. And then you come to find out that if you build something, you fix something, you repair something, there's a certain amount of pride that you get from pulling that task off. And that pride builds on itself as you accomplish more and more tasks. That pride builds on itself each time. Now, this is not something that you got to wait for somebody to give you recognition for. You know when you finish a job right there that that job is finished, and you know if you put your name on it, it's right.
Sure.
And from now and all times, that's my mark on this world. And I don't need a college education to do that. I don't need nothing but my two hands and my brain, which is what the good Lord gave you when He sent you here. And He told you one thing: be fruitful and multiply. It means get out there and do it, baby. It's a personal consent thing. You agree to what you got to do.
Right.
You see, now you might be able to have a case saying, well, they did not tell me. But that only allows or lasts for so long. Because there comes a time when it's not what somebody told you, it's what you learn. See, that's your personal part you have to put into it. Can't just
Right.
sit there and blame it on everybody when you got a part to play too. If you say, I ain't got enough money to make my bills this week, then that's the same as you saying, well, I got to get out and hustle something. Not sit there and just say, I ain't got no money for these bills. You got to make it pop. That's personal responsibility for what you got going on right now. And you're supposed to take that personal responsibility and allow that personal responsibilities to take you where you're supposed to go. It makes no difference where you stop. It really makes no difference where you end. The difference is the journey that's in between those 2 points. Because those 2 points are actually dead air. It's the journey that's the action. So you got to watch what you do on the journey. Huh?
Right. Brother Wathrow, appreciate that life skill training. That was awesome. We're at the 2-hour mark, so we're gonna wrap it up a little bit. Take it on to the house. It was just great. Everything was great. B, you want to start the rounds?
Oh, you telling me? If y'all can
Yep.
hear me, sorry about the communication. I don't know why somebody keep trying to stop me from doing it, but I appreciate everybody coming on. Crew Cut, Mr. Watho, the White O'Brien, and you know, and again, I appreciate everybody coming on for the, you know, the Sunday brunch, you know, and I appreciate it. Thanks for the love. Let's keep building, y'all. Let's keep building. Good topic. I gotta. I'm sitting here. My wife is kind of like, "Hey, we got stuff to do." I didn't expect us to do 2 hours, but hey, if the content is good, it's good. So, thanks everyone. Go ahead and wrap it up, brother. Go ahead, Jerome.
What? Oh, they got him caught now. They be messing y'all up, man. Y'all need to really, y'all can get some dogs or something and start barking before that stuff happens, so we know you gonna go somewhere.
No. I had
Oh,
it
there it
on
is.
mute. I had it
Huh?
on mute. I had it muted.
Oh, y'all be
But
making me nervous, man. Y'all will come in and holler at me and you fade out and I can't hear from you.
But,
Got me running around here checking myself. You know I'm an old man. Y'all can't be doing that shit to me. I thought I died for a minute.
Have a good.
But I appreciate everybody being on, especially Brother Walker, while he's still alive.
Yeah, why
And,
y'all let me live?
and we
Y'all
appreciate the White O'Brien. We appreciate Coach being back on, who's a regular. If you don't have us subscribe, please subscribe to Three-Headed Monster. Hit the notification bell so you get the notifications of when we're on. Share, like, love this information, get it around. This seems to be a good thing, so I think we're going to continue this Sunday brunch. As always, keep educating yourself and love yourself, as Brother B always tells you. And we'll do this again. Appreciate everybody.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.